Hello, true believers. This is Bebots Only, and it's Sunday morning, and I've got a lot of things to do as usual. I've got a big to-do list, and everything's on the list. But one of the things that was on the list I decided to do this morning was this Magic of Rahat Returns reaction video. Now, this YouTube channel is very popular and it's even this video alone has got like 1.7 plus million views, and I think he's got 7 million subscribers. So huge channel, big deal. So you probably heard of him. I wasn't familiar with it. I know a lot of people on YouTube do these prank videos, and apparently he's one of the original bigger prank videos, and what he is famous for doing these. He combined like magic, street magic, and drive-through fast food restaurant videos. So as he's going through a drive-through, he'll do a prank. So I haven't seen all of them. I've seen some, but it gets to a point where once you've seen one, you've kind of seen them all. They're kind of generic. So I didn't really know who did what, which what. And a lot of these prank videos, it gets to a point where, like I said, they get kind of generic and they kind of get staged, and it just gets to a point where it's repetitive. And I think people have gotten over that fatigue. It's like one person does it, everybody does it. The reactions are all kind of the same. And it gets into the point where it's a lot of it's staged, contrived. So, I mean, the prank videos are funny the first few times, but then after a while, you get this kind of fatigue, and how much of it is fake, how much of it is staged, how it was like funny initially, but then after a while, just like how the internet was in the beginning, it was all very exciting. But then after, I mean, I was around when the internet started. Then after a while, everything became about bots, everything became about scams, became about, and scams, and it became very difficult to weed out the weed from the chaff. So a lot of what you see now in the internet is you can't believe. It's all lies. It's kind of like the opposite of innocent until proven guilty. The internet is the opposite. It's like everything is guilty, everything is a scam, everything is a lie until proven otherwise, which is the proper thing to do to kind of be buyer beware to keep yourself safe. So the internet is pretty much is a dangerous place. Okay, and there's a lot of dangerous people out there. And why? And because the world has become a dangerous place, and for many reasons. It's not like before, where people are not so desperate. I mean, sorry, what is this? Not now. The world has become a desperate place. I mean, especially with overpopulation, resources. That's just natural, a natural way of selection, a natural way of evolution, a natural way of selection, where the world is like, okay, there's too many rats in a cage, they start eating each other. It's kind of like eat or be eaten kind of situation, and we're in the verge of that. When I was in prison, there's this famous saying: there's only two kinds of people in this world, especially in prison. The ones that are uh, the the victims, and the scammers. Or you in Tagalog, it was how they say it is like there's the mandoloko and yung linoloko. Okay, so there's the scammers and the scammy is usually what they say. There's two different kinds of people in this world. And I okay, I got some kind of message. And I usually it's just spam. And I usually follow that question with, okay, which one are you? Is my question usually when I was in prison. And they usually say, because usually they never really get that question. afterwards. So they were kind of surprised by it, and they said, "Well, I'm usually they won't say that I'm the scammer, and they usually say the scammy. They'll usually say they're both. So when they say they're both, they usually the scammer, especially if they're in prison. I mean, usually that's kind of the normal thing. If you're in prison, the people there are poor for a reason, and which is very hard for me, became a struggle for me. Over there, most of the reasons why people there are poor, and they do what they have to do because of their poor situation, because of their desperate situation, versus someone like me who was there because I wasn't poor. But that's another, we won't get into that right now, okay? Because I only have so much time. I really want to finish off this video. So back to the magic of Rahat returns. I mean, I can go on about prison on and on and on, but I want to focus area on the magic of Rahat returns. He just kind of, so it's everybody knows I'm on YouTube every day. I'm always on YouTube. I mean, I'm always uploading content, and sometimes YouTube will suggest something that I might find interesting, so I'll take a look at it. But I don't really go into other people's channels too much because I have my own. It's all about what's more interesting to you. And there's nothing more interesting to a person than themselves. That's why people are always, if you're online, you're always Googling yourself. You're always looking for what people are saying about you because you're the most interesting person you know. You're the most interesting subject you know. So, of course, whatever anybody says, you'll be interested in, and whatever it is anybody says, you'll take personal. Why you'll take it personal? Because it's about you. Okay. So obviously, there's a lot of personal information out there about me. There's nothing you could do just to stop it. I mean, I tried my best to try to keep myself invisible as much as I could, but it can't be stopped. It gets to a point where, and I know the consequences are. But right now, it's like nobody really recognizes me in the street because it's just a long time ago. I mean, that's kind of one of the things that's unique about the internet because there's so much information overload that like every day it's almost that my when I say 2 weeks people forget about it, it's not even 2 weeks, it's like two days or 2 hours people will forget about it because there's so much content being uploaded every day that it's whatever happened just a few hours ago, it's just past now and they just kind of move on. And so I ran into this video, and I'll look at it, and if it doesn't pique my interest, then I'll just move on to the next one. But this one was interesting, and there's a lot of reasons, and I'll touch on the some of the aspects that made me interested. One is the timeline. This person disappeared the same time I did, and this person disappeared, came back the same time I did, and we have kind of similar parallel scenarios. He was helping somebody out, I was helping out a bunch of people out, and they come around and they stab you in the back. And so that's where we kind of parallel. And he has proof of his helping, and I have proof of my helping. I have several documented videos of me helping people with the basics: food, clothing, and medical assistance, dental assistance. I've taken people to the doctor. I bought them medicine. For example, UTI. Somebody can have a UTI, something as simple as UTI, and then all they have to do is take Cipro for medicine, and it'll go away in a few hours or a few days. But they'll sit there and suffer with it for days and weeks and months on end, and nobody's going to give them any medicine for it. So they just and then what they do is they use what's called water therapy, and I have videos of that. So water therapy, what's that? It's like we just drink water, and it's painful to pee, right? Yeah, it's very painful to pee. And then so if I don't give you this medicine, if I don't buy Cipro and I don't give you this medicine, you'll continue suffering. Yeah, pretty much. And it's such a simple thing to do, but it's all about priorities, and people's priorities, as you could see, it's different from over here, especially different. I mean, we're talking about culture to culture. Something as simple as to you and I would be like, well, if I have UTI, then get medicine and then done. It's not an issue. But for people over here, it's an ongoing issue. And I mean, I'll give you an example. Okay. Everybody knows we have this night training, and there was this soccer goal, and it didn't have a net on it. I mean, it had like a net on it, but it was all torn up, and it had a bunch of holes on it. So you might a net a gold net with a bunch of holes in it is might as well not have any net at all, right? So I'm just sitting there. So this hero has been practicing with this group for like as long as I've been in prison, so like over 2 years. And I asked Mick Mick, the family driver. He's not actually my family driver. He's a family driver of one of the other football players there, and we just kind of borrow him every once in a while if we need a driver. So he's not really my family driver. He's somebody else's family driver. I don't have a family driver, but I just said I did just to troll is probably my answer. And I asked Mick Mick because I asked him to put the net up for me, right? And we have the same similar problem here in this subdivision. Is the uh, uh, we have goals over here which have no nets, okay? And so the first thing I did was I call up the association and say, hey, the this facility is a public facility. It's in need of repair. Can you take care of it, right? And so what they do is, so I mean, that's the right thing to do. Am I expecting them to do it? No. But I needed to do it anyway, so I could just say, okay, before I did anything, I called them up. I told them, can you replace it? They didn't do it. Then I go on from there. So if it ever comes back to me, I have a legitimate reason why I did it, because they wouldn't do it. So Mick comes up to me and says, and because I was asking him to put the net, and I go, oh, the same thing, we don't have any nets over here. Why don't you tell the association about it so they could put nets up for it? And I looked at Mick and I said, what kind of stupid question is that? Okay. And I said, look at the the football club that we've been at, that they won't put up a net. The organizers wouldn't put up a net. Okay. And I told him, if I never came out of prison, I go, I didn't say it like that, but if I didn't put up the net, who's going to put up the net? He says, no one. And because he says, uh, what is it going to happen? So I asked him, so people always say, why do you always ask questions with another question? It's because you know the freaking answer to the question. Okay. So that's why I told him, it's like, what do you think is going to happen if I call up the association and say, hey, how come you haven't put up a net? They've got a book as big as 10 Bibles giving you excuses why they haven't put up the net. So if you call one day, they'll say, okay, this is the excuse we have today why we don't have. Okay, so I can call again next week. So I call next week, they'll turn the page. This is the excuse that I have today why we're not going to put up the net. And he says, that's true. And I said, Mick, you won't get far in life if you keep asking questions that you're afraid you already know the answer to, because you're afraid of the answer, or you don't like the answer. Okay. So I'm not that person. So I explained to him, I am not that person. Okay. There's two kinds of people in this world. Okay. Those are people that replace the net, and those are people that make up excuses to replace so they never have to replace the net. Guess which one I am? Okay, there's leaders and there's followers. Okay, guess which one I am? Okay, so he already knows the answer. It's very clear as day. And I asked him, how long has the goal have no net? And he said, yeah, over 2 years, and because the club is just 2 years old or something in that similar. And I said, what would happen if I never came along and replaced that net? And he said, no, there would be no net. Exactly. Even though there's a bunch of parents there, even though there's a bunch of organizers there, even though you pay this money and you pay this money, and they have plenty of money for it, they have like, it's just not a priority for them. Okay. Now for me, it's very simple. It's like how do you play basketball without a basket? It's like a how do you play football without a football goal? Okay. And for several years, each day in, day out, they just looked at it and they just waited. And I told them, Mick, what's gonna happen to your life if you just wait? Okay. Are things gonna happen? And then no. Okay. So this net or this goal is never gonna be replaced. So I went through some different goalie nets. I bought one online, which is crap, but it was cheap. So I mean that's my fault. I just tried it. So I wasted money there. And then I bought another one, which is these which is not that strong, but it was stronger than the other one. Then finally I got another one. So I was explaining to him, I don't know how I got to this, but so that's where we're at here. So back to the magic of Rahat returns. So I started watching this video, his video, and I started watching this video. So he was gone. He was gone. And I so the first thing I did was I saw his pranks, and some of them were interesting. I'm trying to think. I think the one where it was like this magic door into another dimension. So I watched it, and then usually what I look at is the comments. Sometimes the comments are more entertaining than the video themselves. So it's just that's why I don't turn off my comments because they're pretty entertaining. Yes, even the trolls are sometimes even more entertaining. Actually, they're probably the most entertainment. I just read it for the trolling that people are doing on the comments, which I think is amusing. So, and then when I was reading the comments, it said, he's arrested, he's in jail, so something similar. It triggered like something familiar to me. It's like, I, okay, really? So I went to his channel and I did see that for like 2 years there was a gap, the same time, and then he made this. Then all of a sudden he comes back after that 2 year gap making this video. Now I just watched the first few minutes of this video and I haven't finished it. And what I wanted to do is come back to do it and to come back and do a proper video and reaction to it. And what I did was because number one, it's pretty long, and I don't mind things being long, but the problem is he has this with this video. He's got this monotone voice now. I think I have that same problem also, but he talks too slow versus mine is kind of I talk pretty fast, but I have a lot of things to say and kind of it just kind of rotates and goes around and kind of takes a detour and then goes off and then I have to pull myself back again, which is I allow it. I think it's just part of my style, and I know it'll take a while for people to get used to, but as soon as people get used to it, a lot of my friends are used to it also. When I start telling a story, it's not going to be quick. So I usually pick my moments when we have time to tell a story, like when we sit down, we're having over lunch. So, and then I start telling the story, and then I have a few friends that take me back to, okay, can you go back to the what you were trying to say? Oh yeah, okay. So back to what I was saying. Magic of Rahat returns. So I started watching the video, and I think last week or 2 weeks ago, and then one thing leads to another, and I'm like, oh, if I don't do this video now, I'm never gonna do it because while it's still in people's minds, and I think it's even too late because he made this video in November, which was the same time I came back. I came out of prison in November, so it's been like what, November, December, January, February, March, so 4 months. So he made this video the same time I got out. So that's what was interesting about it also. So I so I do understand. So if, for you who are familiar with this, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but for those who aren't, so let me recap what happened to him. So he's like a magician. What he did was he made this fake lottery ticket, gave it to a homeless person. The homeless person brought it to the ticket counter, but instead of the lottery ticket is fake, but the winnings was real. The money was real. So they just pretended he made like the lottery ticket. He gave it to him and he said he made $1,000. And the homeless person gave him half of the money, I think like $500. I mean, I could have the details wrong. So the guy made $1,000 in the lottery ticket and gave him the other half. And so it's kind of like the right thing to do because I would do the same thing. I would turn around and give him money because if he didn't give me the lottery ticket, then I wouldn't have any money. So I got to give some money to the person. I mean, he could have done it. He could have not done it. I mean, so at that point, he said, "Wow, this person's very generous. He's very kind. He's just down. He's down on his luck and is out. I'm gonna make this video and it's gonna go viral and I'm gonna get a lot of views and I'm gonna make more money." Okay, so everybody's happy. The homeless person is happy. He's happy. Everybody's happy. So what's wrong? No problem, right? Yeah, no problem so far. But the video got really viral. He uploaded it. So, I mean, let's talk about, is he helping this person? Yeah, he's helping this person. But first and foremost is he's helping himself. I mean, he's making a video to exploit this person. So he's doing some exploiting. And you could say, I'm guilty of it. I mean, we're all guilty of it. Okay. So do we not do it? Do we not help this person? Are we exploiting this person? So the rule is everybody has their, people don't do things for other people's interests. They put their own self-interest first. Okay. You can't tell me that, oh, he wanted to help this person first and then make a video afterwards. No, you can, I can make the argument was he did this to use this person's reaction, this homeless person's situation. And so can you fault him on that? That is, that somebody's going to argue with me that he's exploiting, right? And then he says, no, he's not exploiting because the person, it's not his fault that this person is homeless and is down and out yeah, but he's exploiting his situation. And you can make the same argument over here. I'm here in the Philippines. There's a lot of, the whole country is, you talk about 90+% of the country is in this desperate, homeless, hungry situation. So you could say that, oh, I'm exploiting these people to help them and I'm getting views in return. I mean, I got to the point where I especially with the second generation, because I already proved in the first generation, I knew that I had to show people initially that, okay, I'm helping people and I'm helping beautiful girls. And that's another discussion in itself because when the police were blackmailing me for money, yes, blackmailing, which is illegal, and police do it all the time. And you and I will call it blackmailing because over here it's called Tuesday, okay, because of culture. It's not blackmailing. For them, it's like, what are you talking about? We're police. That's what we do when we have somebody with money. We blackmail them. That's just culture. Now, like I said, we have to use labels like blackmail. Is it illegal? Is it not? Right? It's illegal if you get caught, but if you don't get caught, then it's not illegal. The point I'm making here is that all of a sudden, let's go back to magic of Rahat returns. So he helped this person, no problem. So he goes back and people watch the video and they say, hey, this video is great. I feel bad for this person. I want to feel good about myself. So I want to help this person. So we're back to this self-interest first. Okay. Yeah, you want to help this person, but you're doing it because it makes you feel good that you're hurting. It's not bad one way or another. We all have to get something out of it. We're not going to do something unless we get some kind of benefit of it in return. We get this benefit that, oh, we feel good. We're in touch with our humanity because we're reaching out and we are making a difference with somebody with our money, which is, I mean, I don't have a problem with it one way. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad. I'm just explaining it for what it is. So they get so all these donations started coming in. So he got like, I think $60,000, and he explained in his video 30% has to be set aside for taxes, and I understand that. So I over here I think it's like 33%. So out of 60, 70,000, like 40,000 was left. So I'm just rounding the numbers here. So 40,000, and he used the money to get, number one, get this person a home or an apartment where he was renting for it, and tried to give him a job with the money and everything. And then it went into limo rides and So the person, of course, so the person's homeless, and all the things associated with being homeless is they're alcoholic, they have mental issues, there's a reason why they're, and then it turned into limo rides and his friends and everything. So the person kept asking for money, and he wasn't using the money for his needs or for his basics or to get himself set up where he could be independent, because he said in the video that like money, it's not endless, it's finite, it has it'll run out, so you have to be careful with it, you have to make it sustainable. So you can't be just spending it on limo rides or binge alcohol parties or giving money away to friends and they're gonna just waste it and spend it. Whether they use it on drugs, they use it on alcohol, they use it on trailer trash, meth addict, prostitutes, or a pair of Italian leather shoes. And where they're going to go with the Italian leather shoes, and where they're going to go with a limo ride. So he wanted limousine ride. So he wanted spend it luxury lavishly and waste the money instead of sustaining it. Okay, which is opposite for me. When I get something, when I get money, I show that, okay, we our lavish spending is like Jollibee, which I'm sick of. Okay, and I get this. And it make it sound like I'm this Jollibee person. I'm sick of Jollibee. I hate Jollibee. The thought of the idea or the smell makes me throw up, because I've gone so many times. But for the people that I'm with, that's like their favorite thing, because for them it's like a limo ride for them. It's a luxury thing for them. And to you and for people who are watching this, that like they don't get it, they don't understand, because of course you're from a different culture. You don't exactly know what I'm talking about, because you haven't experienced what these people have experienced. And so every time I take them somewhere to eat, I already know exactly the number one place they want to eat. They want to eat Jollibee. They don't want some fancy schmancy restaurant with ingredients that they've never heard of, or some cheesecake factory kind of wannabe. They want like Jollibee. So if you want to make a person very happy over here, take them to Jollibee. You don't have to ask them what they want. I already know what they want. They want chicken joy, they want spaghetti, they want fries, and they want a Coke float. And you get them all those things, and they're like, you will never see anyone happier. And for me, it's like me leeching off that happiness, okay? Because you can buy me all the Coke floats, all the French fries in the world, and I will never be as happy as this person. But for them, because of their background, their experience, they're the happiest thing. So this person's wasting it. So naturally, what's going to happen to this homeless person that wastes money, that's not responsible, that have no discipline, obviously, because that's why the reason why they're homeless. If you had any ounce of discipline, or he actually doesn't want to be homeless anymore and wants to turn his life around, there's plenty of opportunities or chances that people will give you. Just like right now, it's like this magic of Rahat gave this person a chance, gave him a job, made it possible for him to get a job, something sustainable. But he doesn't want a job. He doesn't want the responsibilities. He wants that carefree, I just kind of live off the nothing, no worries kind of life, that's his life. Okay, that's what he wants. And it's not right for us to be imposing, okay, we want you to be part of the the corporate, like, okay, you work for this amount of money and for this hours and you get this pay amount and you pay this much amount of taxes, and that's how you live your life. Is he going to be happy doing that? Hell no. He's very happy being hopeless. He's very happy not having to wake up. He's happy not having to shave and shower. Like me, I hate shaving and shower. That's what the boss is always complaining about me. Before we got married, you used to shave and shower all the time. Well, I had a job back then. Now I don't have a job, so I'm like Al Bundy. I don't want to uh, I always have to pause. I have to make sure I say Al Bundy, not Ted Bundy. Sometimes I get those two confused. Not that they're both they have some similarities, but one's of course, a serial murderer rapist. The other one is kind of he's probably, I mean, he's just a victim of his circumstance. I mean, he was married with children. I mean, a lot of men married with children with kind of his responsibilities, and he's like he has to go to work every day because even though he hates his job because of his responsibilities to his family because he's married with children. And we all kind of, I mean, it's a parody, it's a joke, I get it, right? We all kind of experience, we go through the same thing, but we have responsibilities, and it's a human thing to do. It's the right thing to do because, we love our children. We can't replace them. I mean, the wife, yeah, of course you could replace them, but you can't replace your children's mother. So you just kind of live with it, and we're all kind of, yes, we have problems with Peg. Not everything is perfect, but it's family. That's what it's called. But anyway, back to Magic of Rahat Returns. I better watch this video because I think it's like it cuts off at a certain time. Hope I don't run out. I might have to make a part two. So if I do, we just kind of have to live with it. So back to Magic of Rahat Returns. So, uh, so at this point, the guy starts asking him for money, and he says, "Hey, you're not being responsible for it." And the guy gets combative or gets confrontational and says, "Hey, if you don't give me my money, I'll get my money." So it gets to a point. I mean, I know exactly what he's going through. That the guy starts thinking that's my money. Because of me, you wouldn't have any money. Same thing when I'm helping the poor people over here. They know that, like, I'm getting, when I tell them, okay, we have sponsors that send money. Okay, so if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have any. You're using me, so that's my money that you're holding. So there's going to be a certain amount of animosity that's going to happen there naturally, and you just kind of manage it. You just kind of control it, and then you just kind of say, okay, well then you don't have to hang out with me. You don't have to. Then you can go off on your own, do your own thing. I'll go off on my own, do my own thing. We'll go live our separate lives. That's fine. So we have this symbiotic relationship. Okay, you're using me, I'm using you to make content. I'm showing these people, they're using me because they feel better. They get to watch you being happy. So everybody's happy. Everybody's benefit. Okay. What happens with this relationship is, then one person gets greedy, one person gets jealous, okay, and this person, the homeless person, or the poor people, gets greedy, or they get jealous. They're like, okay, this person's holding my money, and he says, if you get my money, if you don't give me my money, I'll find a way to do it. So Rahat says, okay, fine, here's a check. I'll give you a check. I want nothing to do with you anymore. You want to waste the money, snort all this money. That's your life. Do with it. I'm done with it. I gave you a chance. I can sleep at night knowing I tried and I helped you. And it's kind of like, it's not very responsible for him, but you don't just go into people's lives and just kind of, cause this problem. You make them unhappier than they were before. So before you came along, they were very very happy, and then now, so this Magic of Raha just kind of complicated this person's life with his access to money. Now, money is alcohol, money is drugs, money is friends. So he wanted nothing to do with it. And then the problem comes up here is where it goes very even more wrong, was that this homeless person started making videos of him saying, "Oh, he took the money," which is all lies. I get it. I mean, but when it comes to money, people, when it comes to homeless, or when it comes to poor people, when it comes to desperate people, they'll say, do anything for money, for their fix. Okay, they'll make up lies. They'll call you anything. They'll call this. Look at this person's face. Okay, I know Rahat is not a thief. He doesn't need to. I could see myself in black and white. He's got millions and millions of subscribers. So the money is that he wouldn't need to take his money, because that's just a drop in the bucket for him. So I get it. He doesn't need to take his money. He gave him his money. So I knew completely, since I know better, that yeah, it's completely lies. It's like he's just doing it to make money. Well, how do I know? Because I have this parallel experience also. I experience a lot of things also. I experience what it's like to be poor. And I think I'm still poor. I still have to think of money. I still have to make these stupid videos. Actually, they're not stupid videos. I like communicating with people. But at any rate, so that's where this guy, it hit him. Okay, so up to this video, I haven't seen the rest of the video. It's like 49 minutes, almost an hour. It's like 33 minutes. So we're at that point of when he was telling the story. So I wanted to skip forward, and I haven't heard the rest of the story. So what I want to do is I want to react to it. So it kind of gives me a way like him and I are having a conversation. It's almost like he says something and I'm going to react to it. It's almost like an interview. It's my closest way of having a conversation with him, even though we're not really talking to each other. So that's what I wanted to do. But I wanted to this up how I got to this video because of the parallel situation that happened to him. And then all of a sudden he's helping this person and then he got backstabbed by this person. But we'll talk about that, the backstabbing nature, because we're over here in the Philippines. We're talking about poor people. We're talking about desperate people. Yes, that's including the police. But what makes the police very dangerous is because they've got guns and they've got the law also, and they could use the law and guns to do criminal activities. To when for what? For money. So you have to be careful that people over here, because they're in that same situation as this homeless person, says Magic of Rahat returns, you run that risk. And there's really nothing you could do to negate that risk. It's just kind of like a risk versus reward. Is this person that you're dealing with worth the risk? And you just have to assess that risk on a daily or hourly basis because it could change. I mean, the situations over here in the Philippines are very dynamic, and if you don't know what you're doing, and I did such, and for like when I was doing Bebos Only, I started like in 2008, 2009. For 10 years, I was managing that risk properly. And I managed it. And then there's going to be a time, if you do it long enough, after 10 years, a law of averages is you're going to get hit with the stab and it's going to hit you with a vengeance. Okay, with the backstab, these are so you're asking, how could they do this? How can the people do this, right? For them, when you're dealing with poor people, their minds are not thinking about tomorrow or the next day or the future. They're just out here to get their fix. Same thing over here. So this person, you give a homeless person money, they waste it on limousines. Same thing over here. You give a person money over here, they're not going to use it on medicine or food, or the first thing to do is they're gonna get a tattoo with it. That's like their version of getting a limousine with it. They're gonna go splurge and give it to their friends so they can get tattoos and they can all get matching tattoos. And that's the last thing I want is I don't want you to send money, and I can give it to this person, and they're going to say, oh, they're going to use it on medicine, and tell you that they're going to use it on food, and they're going to use it for their basics. No, and they're going to use it on tattoos instead because it's free money. Same thing with the limousine rides over here. Okay, then so he says, okay, I don't want you wasting money. I don't want anything to do with you if that's what you're going to do. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to get you back. And and this person, and somebody should have told you, it's like they don't want to get back in they don't want a second chance. They've had plenty of chances. They're perfectly happy where they are. So you could probably make the argument with me over here that the people like being poor. Well, not exactly, because if you're born poor, you never had a chance, okay? Versus people in first world countries like America, you're not really born poor. You have opportunities. You can go get an education. You have access to student loans. To if you really want, you have opportunities to a job, okay? But they don't have the same opportunities over here. So the main difference over here between me and Magic of Rahat here is because what I'm doing is I'm presenting opportunities for people that never had the opportunity before versus a homeless person in America. I have to say that I've been poor there before, so there's plenty of opportunities to get yourself out of being homeless. I mean, there's shelters, there's social. They'll give you a job. They'll set you up. If you want it. I mean, there's plenty of refugees that come over there and have a successful life. And if they're homeless, it becomes a choice, or maybe they have mental problems. But ultimately, you have to choose not to be homeless anymore. Versus the people over here, they didn't choose to be poor. Now, whether you give them an opportunity not to be poor anymore, and they think about the consequences, the advantages, the disadvantages. Some of them might choose to be, look, I don't want any part of that. I want to continue being poor because I enjoy my friends, I enjoy my family. I don't want to leave them behind. I like staying down there with them in the muck. Then that's your choice, but give them the choice. So what I do is I present the opportunity to them, and then several girls. I mean, I guess the first primary example that everybody knows off the top of the head is Joy. Joy took the opportunity. Does it have its pros and cons? Yes, there is she's stuck with a person that everybody says looks like a fish or looks like this person from that person, which is unfair, okay? Because he's the first person and the only person that came and gave her the opportunity and she took it. It wasn't you. It's not fair for you to be saying, because nobody else came and everybody was saying, how come this, how come that? Because how come nobody came is because, and I went through this with everybody in all my live streams. It's like nobody's gonna come, and that's the reality. And he came, and good for him. And she took the opportunity, and she's not poor anymore. Did she get backlash? Of course, she's got a lot of backlash. That's why she's not even online anymore. That's why she's not uploading video anymore. Just like this magic of Rahat does, because when people say comments about you, no matter what it is, it's very personal. Okay, and I probably will get into like, oh, well, Bebotsonly, how about you? Do you take things personal? Yes and no. Okay. Yes, of course, that the natural answer is I take it personal. But no, I don't let it control what I'm gonna do. Just like as soon as I got out of prison, I started vlogging right away. I mean, I wanted to vlog so badly while I was in prison. Every day I was like, I would watch people pass me by or leave me behind, and I would watch people like they started vlogging just like yesterday, and look at how much money they have, how many views they have, how successful they have. They bought a bunch of cars and house and lots now because they're a successful blogger now during this, especially during this pandemic. So I wanted to. So it's like the first, I don't know, first day or two, I just like my first week, I even did a live stream just to kind of get everybody caught up that I'm here. And then, but right now, I have, I- I'm making up for lost time with my family. They come a priority first, but I did make the effort to put my live stream out there and get the information out, some information out. So back to what he's saying here. Oh my gosh, it's 41 minutes already. If this stops recording, I'll just restart again. I'm just keeping an eye on it. You know what? I will stop it and start it again.